Well, good morning to our first graders. We're excited that you're going to be moving over to St. John campus next year, and we have our second grade teachers with us today to answer some questions about second grade, things you might be wondering about. Just a reminder, I'm Principal Kubik, and I oversee both St. Michael and St. John, as well as all of MCES. And I'm going to now turn it over to the teachers to introduce themselves.
Good morning. My name is Terry Knapp. I've been teaching second grade for 15 years. I taught 7 years at St. Mike's in second grade, and then when we became MCES, I continued as a second grade teacher there.
And I'm Mr. Krzyzewski, known as Mr. K, and this is my third year with MCES in St. John's. I've been at second grade the whole time.
Great. Thank you both for being here today. I know the kids will be excited to see you and hear about what they'll be learning about next year. Can you both kind of talk about some of the big highlights of what the kids will learn about next year?
So the biggest thing in second grade is in religion. The students will be receiving the sacraments of reconciliation and First Communion. That's actually my very favorite part of teaching second grade. It's the reason I chose to teach second grade, and is absolutely my favorite thing to do. So that's a big thing. And then in reading, the first half of second grade, the students are still learning to read. We work a lot with phonics, and then the second half of the year, they're reading to learn. We focus more on comprehension.
Yeah, and I agree with Mrs. Knapp. And then with math, we kind of really get those facts down the beginning half of the year, like the back of your hand, and then we build on that to where they need to be going in the third grade with going and care. What's really the first half is get everything concrete and then build on top of that for third grade.
Great. And can you both talk a little bit to what you do in like science and social studies as well?
Social studies, the theme for the whole year is community. So we do a lot within our community, and we take field trips that are very local. So we visit the library a couple times a year. We walk downtown and visit the mayor's office and get a tour of City Hall. The mayor usually comes in March to read to the students for March's Reading Month. Then we do a community walk where we visit some local stores. We go to the Book Nook, we have lunch at Tiffany's, go get dessert at Cakes by Stephanie. We have a end of the year picnic at St. Mary's Park. So just learning a lot about our community and the importance of our community.
Okay.
Yeah, and then with science, kind of starting the beginning of the year is like how to be a scientist, like what they need to do, the steps and all that, observing. So we might go outside and I'll say, sit in a spot and just draw what you see from your angle, observing what you see. So that's kind of the first part. And then we move into like plants and animals and fossils and learning different animal groups and all that. So I know I show a lot of interesting videos where they learn more about a particular animal, like the polar bear, you know what I mean? And then we'll talk about that and maybe do a short little activity based on the animal we're doing that day. So it's a lot of plants and animals and just knowing what they do in the environment and everything like that.
Great. And then in terms of handwriting, they start something in second grade. So
after Christmas, we begin writing in cursive. So we never actually do our work in cursive. It's just learning the letters. And we begin obviously with lowercase, move to the uppercase. And then by the end of the year, the goal is to be able to write their name in cursive and then be ready to practice it again in third grade before they use it in third grade.
Great. Thank you.
Yep.
And some big highlights of the year, I think one would be that they're moving to a new campus, to St. John. So what are some of the things that they need to know about St. John campus?
So after being the big fish over at St. Mike's as first graders, they become the little fish, the youngest. But it's a different environment. So there's just second, third, and fourth grade. We're together kind of over on our own side of the building. I'm upstairs across from the gym, and Mr. K is downstairs by the cafeteria. So we call that our little area over there. The one big thing that the kids always think is very different is the playground. So they're used to their big playground over at St. Mike's. It's a little different for us, but we go out for recess just like doing first grade, and they get to see all their friends. So even though they may not be with the same students they were with in first grade, they'll get to see them. And we do a lot of activities together too, a lot of art projects, and do a lot of reading of stories, or if we have visitors, we we combine classes so that they still get to see their friends.
That's great.
Yeah, I agree with Mrs. Knapp on that. The whole we try to do a lot together, so they see, keep that group close. And I would say the funniest thing in the beginning of the year is the layout of the building from second grade. So I know I do many of tours, and I'll even have a student guide the class, especially to the office. But I just think that's always a funny first week when you try to send them somewhere and they come back in like 2 seconds and they go, I don't know where it is.
Yeah.
So that's one of the biggest things because it's a new building and we're on that one like nook on the other end. But we get that down within the first week.
Yeah, definitely. And the kids do eventually figure it out quickly, and they
Yeah.
love finding their way and being a messenger to run over to the office. So that's great. Any other big highlights of the year?
So we have a grandmother of one of our students, our MCES students, who has volunteered to come in with her therapy dog. And so in second grade, we do that. We have her come in with her therapy dog, Jasper, and they come in and read with students. And so it's a very non-threatening environment. So for students who may be struggling in reading, she takes them one-on-one, and they just pick a book and read, and the dog listens or falls asleep. But and she's right there with them, and there's no judging, and the students absolutely love it. So we're really glad that we can have her take part in that.
Great.
Yeah, and then this week in reading month, this month was supposed to, well, in March, we were going to have like 4 or 5 guest readers come in. So we had Deacon Mike come in, and did we have another one come in?
Mrs. Burns from the Book Nook.
Mrs. Burns from the Book Nook came in, but then we had the mayor was supposed to come in, and Miss Monroe was supposed to come in as well. Come in like once a week, just have someone different read to them, and they can ask questions, based on who they are and what they do. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. What do you think the biggest difference from first grade to second grade is?
Becoming more independent. So there's just a lot more where they have to be responsible for their own work. They have a lot more independent work. Things aren't read to them as much as they are in first grade. There's still a lot of guidance, but they just become much more independent learners, because the biggest jump, I think, is from second to third grade. And so I think second grade, the year is spent preparing them for that and just becoming the independent learners.
Great.
Yeah, I agree with Mrs. Knapp. I'm a big advocate for, like, they have to, maybe go through a rough patch, to get through it. So, they have to write in their planners. Like, I'm not going to go and write in their planners and get their books out and open up to their page and rip it out. Stuff like that is like huge, because they come in, not really knowing how to do that. But the whole independency and being a little more responsible, I would say, is the biggest thing. It's not really the content of the schoolwork. It's more being like an independent student.
Great. And what do you think the best thing is about your class in second grade?
I just think they're a great age. They still love their teacher, and for the most part, they are very, very eager to learn. They're excited. Those aha moments are great when they get something, and just helping them, knowing that you're helping them build upon skills that they honestly are going to use for the rest of their life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with that. Because I subbed before I taught all grades, second grade to senior in high school. And then which was cool, because then I chose, like, I wanted to teach like that early elementary. So second grade. And like Mrs. Knapp said, they want to learn. When you tell them something very like cool or interesting, they get like excited. They want to answer, and seeing them kind of not get it in the beginning and then them becoming like real good at it is like a big, like an accomplishment for them. You know what I mean? Because you'll say, hey, 2 weeks ago, you didn't know how to do that. You're struggling, and now you're doing it like it's nothing. That's a really cool thing to see in the classroom.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you both for being here. We know that our first graders are excited to be in second grade with you next year. Any last words for them?
Just, we're very excited to have them over at our building next year. Can't wait to meet them.
Very excited. Come to learn. You've had a long time off.
Yeah. Thank you.